Hi everybody, welcome back to another episode of our Dungeon Boss Rune Crafting series. Now that Winterfest is over, we're going to be taking a look at the prizes that we got, which is going to be the Festive runes. The Festive runes, aside from being really great runes, have a very unique fourth stat that we had not seen before, and that is the plus energy. So as I mentioned, the runes themselves are great runes. This one here's got over 900 attack. That's actually as good as it gets as far as attack runes go, and then it has the extra health on it. The nature rune is defensive base. It has, let's see, 750, 820 some, or 830 defense, which is also pretty good. But ultimately, what we're looking at with these particular runes here is the fourth stat, and starting with +1 energy. So I have a spreadsheet all set up for us that we're going to use to go ahead and see where to best place these runes here. I'll get into that in just a moment. But I wanted to start out with just some basics on these and my thoughts on the matter. There are, looking at your hero loadout, there are 3 types of heroes that can equip both of them. If we look at dark heroes, they are 1. They both have red and green. Red and green. Light heroes also have red and green, so they would be candidates. And then red heroes also have red and green. There are a few notable exceptions that do not fit the mold. Shade as a dark hero obviously does not count. He just has dark runes. We also have Hopper. Hopper does not have a red rune for a dark hero, but she does allow the green one. And the other one is Furno. Furno is a nature hero, but has both green and red available. Those are the notable exceptions to start with. Everybody else should fit the traditional archetype, if you will. That being said, who do you want to place these runes on? The very first thing that I thought of when I saw these 2 runes in the reward section when we were going through Winterfest is the fact that there's 1 red and 1 green. It just screamed at me that these are going to go on Koros. That's basically what I think, is it's almost like a soft epic for Koros because of this skill here, Siphoning Rampage. Has a very short cooldown, and what's going to happen is if you equip both of these runes onto Koros, he is going to have that ability up in the second turn, which is pretty potent. It basically puts him on par with Koros on PvP defense. If you've ever looked at that attack spreadsheet that I set up, Koros' second attack here, the Siphoning Rampage, is one of the highest damaging attacks in the entire game, and this one here is going to allow attackers to use it much sooner than they would have normally. And that's going to be a big advantage for PvP attacks. It's going to help take on some of those perma-res beast teams that just can't seem to go down very quickly. There's obviously some other good quality heroes that would work here, but ultimately what I think you're going to want to do is to kind of evaluate what your situation calls for and ultimately figure out who's going to be a good one that just needs extra energy so you can get to a particular ability sooner rather than later. So you don't have to put both on 1 hero. Personally, I feel like I probably would do that just to make sure I get a skill that I want sooner rather than later, like I mentioned. I don't use Koros that much. I'm actually going to put both of these on Solaris instead so I can get the Phoenix Feather sooner. Partially just because I like to be able to use it for cleansing purposes, but that's my plan for the meantime. I don't know until I get in there more. We'll reevaluate once we get the combat revamp, but with that said, let's go ahead and we'll take a look at the actual spreadsheet here. So what I've done with this particular spreadsheet is I listed every single hero that has a second and third ability. There's no reason to put the first ability on there. And so what I did is I listed every single hero's second and third ability. I sorted it alphabetically so you can easily find the hero that you're looking for. And I added in a bunch of criteria here. I do have some hero notes in column C that I'm going to be adding to from time to time. I just have to make some more thorough notes here in order to fill that in. Column D is the turn that they are first available. as far as the ability goes. What this means here is if the hero is not accompanied by any other specific type of a hero, nor do they have any of the festive runes. So basically, if you were to put them in a PvP match by themselves, this is the turn that the ability will become available. This is going to be the starting point for all of our heroes, and then we're going to basically consider some extra criteria for it. So the first two columns after that are whether or not there's 1 and 2 festive runes on there. I made these two columns. These are the easiest ones to follow because you can basically look up any hero and say, if I put both of my festive runes on there, when is this ability going to be coming? Or, how much longer do I have to wait, essentially? So every single hero, with the exception of Shade, should be able to equip 1 festive rune. I believe Shade is the only one that is not available because he has all dark runes. Everybody else has at least 1. The 2 festive runes, I have pulled out all the ones that cannot have 2 festive runes and updated all the rest of them. These are basically just what do you call it? Basic formulas here. When the formula returned a turn of 0, or if it returned a negative number in the case of ones that had a starting value of 1, I just went in like this one here and I replaced it with a physical number. In addition to that, when we start looking at the other ones after that, for example, the Dagran Energize and the Echo Energize, I also had to consider fast heroes here because the fast heroes go before either Dagran or Echo would go. Any of the ones that would have calculated to also be on turn 1, I actually had to switch that up to turn 2 because they wouldn't be around to get that benefit on turn 1, and so they would get it on turn 2. So these here are a bunch of different ways that we can get energy as far as heroes go. So you can determine if you put these festive runes on there and then start combining with other energy methods, how soon can we get certain abilities up? And that's ultimately our goal here. We don't really care about this for PvP defense. We care about it for PvP offense because we want to know how fast can I use Siphoning Rampage, for example. So we go to Koros. We want to know Siphoning Rampage. And so it starts off, you get it on turn 4. If you equip both of the festive runes, you can get it on turn 2. However, did anybody ever stop to think that if you put Dagran before Koros, you can actually energize him and use Siphoning Rampage on the first turn? Not saying that you would want to. Most people want to use Purging Pyre on that first turn, so having it available on the second turn is probably a-okay. There's probably nothing wrong with that. So you can use this scroll through, use it as a reference to basically see when would be a ability coming up that you want to actually use. And this actually brings us into our next game-breaking segment here. And I'm not sure that this is going to be the case, but it's something that I'm going to be trying heavily once the combat revamp happens. I can't really test it now because the attack formulas are still too much out of whack. The team that I want to use is not going to be able to survive it. So the person that I'm most looking forward to using with these runes is none other than Meryl. Meryl has that one skill that I've really been wanting to use, but as far as PvP attacks go, it's just he's always dead before it comes up, and that is the Invigorate skill. Invigorate allows you to completely replenish the energy of anybody on your team. And that's a huge deal. And what I found here is with certain combinations, if we were to put both festive runes, and actually we only need to put 1 festive rune on him, and then we pair him with Echo, because Meryl is light, he gets an Echo passive of 1 energy, and then when you energize, what's going to happen is you're going to get Invigorate on the very first turn. That's going to be a huge advantage. So once the combat revamp happens and your heroes are able to survive longer, it's going to be much better than what it is now. Because right now, having this available in the first turn isn't going to be helpful because Meryl dies very easily. There's going to be 2 ways that you can use the Meryl plus Echo Invigorate. One of them is going to be to invigorate somebody that goes after them. So for example, if you don't need a fast hero, you could go Echo and then Meryl and then 2 other people. One of them can be completely invigorated to use a second or third ability that wouldn't normally be up. So it's up to you if you think that there's a hero out there that has a really strong second or third ability that you would want to use instead of their first ability. That would be option number 1. Option number two, which I think is going to be much more preferable, and the one that I'm looking forward to doing, is actually to use a strong hero first, like Koros or Viperia. Viperia has the strongest AoE in the game with snakes on the plane. We could use Viperia, and then as long as everybody stays alive, we could use Echo, then Marrow to reinvigorate, and then use that to invigorate Viperia, and then on the start of turn 2, Viperia can use snakes on the plane again. So having a hero that does a ton of AoE damage like Koros or Viperia, you can use them on the first turn, invigorate them, and use them on the second turn as well. I tried it in PvP in this season here now, and I just could not keep the team alive. So having a team of somebody squishy like Viperia and Marrow, and then having Echo, and then one other one, and the opposing teams are just too tough right now. Shade one-shots pretty much anybody, and that holds true with both Marrow and Viperia. They just can't survive. So I'm hoping, I'm not very confident, but I'm hoping that the combat revamp will fix that and allow people to not be one-shot as much, which would allow us to use this mechanic here. And then we will also see it for not just doing tons and tons of damage, but increased crowd control. So lead-off heroes like Igorok or Valken who can freeze, we could freeze in the first turn and then go with Echo, then Marrow, then invigorate that first person again, and have that freezing ability up on the first turn yet again. So there's a lot of possibilities with the Echo Marrow combo, but it's all going to depend on how the combat revamp goes. That being said, as far as this spreadsheet goes, this is sort of still a work in progress. I did as much as I could on it today just to get it started so that you can actually see some basic numbers. The only thing that I don't have right now is the supplemental columns. I'm going to be combining some of these together into other ones to illustrate like the Echo plus Marrow instance to show that the abilities would be available on turn 1, for example. So if you wanted to do one where you put one Festive rune on Arya and then you combined with Echo and Energize, what turn is it available on? Things like that. Or if you're using Dark Heroes and you put Cobalt on your team and you want to say, okay, I brought Echo into Energize and I have Cobalt on there, rather than looking at these numbers and trying to calculate it, which isn't hard to do, I'm going to try and put some extra columns in there just to put those combinations together to make things easier. Hopefully, though, this is a good start for anybody that's looking to say, okay, I want to use so-and-so on my team. Is it going to benefit me to put 2 Festive runes on them? And then find out when that ability is going to come up. That being said, I am certainly not without faults here and there. If you find any typos or incorrect turn numbers on this sheet here, go ahead up in this little area here and just drop a comment in there so that I can go ahead and correct that. Obviously, I'm going to want to double check it to make sure that's accurate, but if you see anything that's drastically incorrect or you've done some testing on your own and found out that something is functioning a little bit different than what I suggested, please let me know and I will update this. I am also going to post this on the forum. I don't think it'll get a sticky next to it, but I think people are going to find it very, very helpful. I'm going to share the Google Doc and then anybody can access it, but it's not going to be editable. So hopefully this helps out with your Festive runes and determining where you actually want to put them. I think it's going to require a little bit of trial and error. I think once we get the combat revamp out there, I think that's going to give us a little bit more flexibility. I think some of the matches will go a lot longer. You won't necessarily have to have some of those skills up in the very first turn, which will allow you to use these runes as just really good runes and not really dependent on the actual energy themselves. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to leave them below. Otherwise, as always, thanks for watching, and we will see you again. Thank you so much for watching this video and supporting my channel. If you like this video, please show your continued support by hitting that like button, and be sure to check out both my YouTube channels for new content all the time. And always remember, peace is a lie, there's only passion. We'll see you next time.